Hi there, I'm Scott, and this is GreatScott Knitting Vlogtober 2022. This is day 6, and the first clue of the Westknits Mystery Knit Along 2022 Twists and Turns dropped this morning. And oh my gracious, my first impression was uh-oh, this one's a little more challenging than I expected. Um, because I watched the video first. I didn't really look at the instruction, the pattern to begin with. I just kind of watched the video. I was like, oh my gracious. Number one, the first daunting aspect was the 124 stitch I-cord start. But yeah, I mean, once I got into it, wasn't bad. That part of it, and then these, um, this casting on and binding off and casting on and binding off, got kind of was like not frightening, but I was like, wow, this is going to be involved. I was like, I had visions of those I-cord items, those I-cord things that were in the Shawlography last year. But these have a different purpose than what those had last year, and so I am purposefully not showing a lot, but I will do a sort of a quick boop. There's what my colors are looking like. It just as a sort of a how those are coming together. I'm really liking the tonalities that are in my contrast color, and you really can't tell. But the my main color also has a lot of different tonal shifts, but they are tonal shifts from like navy to black. So those are a little harder to see. But I'm loving the contrast. It's doing exactly what I had hoped it would do in terms of that color contrast for me. And of course, I always love a good chevron shape, because I just love those points. But these fun little things, I love what these turn into later. But I'll do that once I get further into get a few more rows under it. Then I'll start actually using those for what those become. Of course, those of you who are playing along, you already know what those become. They become sort of like giant knit stitches as an interesting embellishment technique to this shawl. But I gotta tell you, once I saw what this opening section does, I was super excited. I am super excited for this beginning. And, my thought is like right out of the gate, it's off and running, full speed ahead with interesting textures, highly highly graphic in its with the chevrons and and creating the striping that's there. So, and then with this texture that he's adding in, man, didn't see this one coming. Did not see that particular thing. And so let me hang on. Okay, I've got to do it because I think it just looks so freaking cool. Let me see if I can do this relatively quickly. Really? maybe the answer to that is no, I can't do it relatively quickly. Anyway, this is such a cool technique that I didn't see coming, would never have thought of. But find to be probably one of the coolest things I have ever seen in shawl construction. And it's that. That turns into that. Absolutely the coolest thing. And so by the time I publish this, which probably won't be till the weekend, everyone should know that this is the aspect of the first clue. So everyone who's playing along should have seen it, known it, have their own version of it. So absolutely, it's just stunning. I mean, I don't know. I love it. I love it. Stephen West, you're a freaking genius. I don't know what you have for breakfast every day that causes you to think in these most incredibly interesting and creative ways, but man, I would love to get some of it. So that, I'm contemplating where I've got 1, 2, 3, not very far in, considering I have a whole bunch more of these stripes to go, but not bad for day 1. So I'll probably be done with clue 1 well ahead of schedule. So I feel good about that. So that's great. So yeah, my first impression was, oops, this is going to be challenging. And once I got into it, I was thrilled, absolutely thrilled. So that just kind of proves the statement from Martin at 365 Knit 365 that and I'll link to his channel because he's really a fabulous fellow, and he and Irina Shar are doing a MKAL sort of an MKAL knit along group that they are hosting. But anyway, one of the things that Martin often says, especially at this time of year, in Stephen we trust. So, just say yes, don't stress. That's a Stephen West-ism. Yeah, so I'm just saying yes. I'm just going with it. And again, as usual, it's gonna be epic. I'm really, really fascinated at where this is gonna go and what the shape of this shawl is going to be. I'm thinking it is not going to be half circle-ish or even and I don't think it's going to be like a triangular type of shaping or anything along those lines. I don't know. The shaping of this one's going to be interesting. I don't think it's going to be necessarily traditional. So, because we don't have no traditional start to this, and it'll be fun to see what I mean. These can't just kind of hang out there, could they? That doesn't seem like I would not be happy with that. I would want these tacked down to something or somehow utilized in structure. But I thought that with those I-cord loopy things last year, that I thought, oh, those should become something other than what they were. And they were just what they were. That they just sat there. So these might just sit there. I don't know. I think these are going to be part of, get tacked into something and be part of construction of some kind. Like maybe pick up an edge of that in the next section. I don't know. We will see probably next week what becomes of those. But anyway, so I just wanted to pop on, give my first impressions of Clue 1, and the where we are headed with the twists and turns shawl. And man, we twists and turns right here out of the gate. Did not see this coming at all. So that just tells me that the rest of the shawl is going to be really interesting. It's going to do, I just know it's going to do a lot of really cool things that we're not expecting. Yeah. So again, I'm just, this is my favorite time of year for a lot of reasons. And now that I'm into doing the Stephen West MKAL, again, this is only my second year. I wish I had always been doing them, because this is so much fun to do this communal thing, to know that in the same day, maybe not at this exact same moment, but in the same day, I cast on an item, a garment type thing, a shawl, along with thousands of other people, and that we're all experiencing it with each other. Yeah, that just is such a cool thing. All right, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off on this day, first Clue day, Vlogtober day 6 edition. And until next time, may you have peace in your home and the fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Bye. I'm Scott, and this is GreatScott Knitting, and we are in the midst of Vlogtober. This is day 8. So this is Shabbat Shalom to everybody who celebrates Shabbat. And so the last time I talked, it was day 6. I skipped day 7 because Friday, just wasn't feeling it. And I wasn't, I was more focused on what. So day 6 was cast on day for Twists and Turns, the Stephen West 2022 mystery knit along. And so that has been cast on. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw some progress that I've made. I've made not significant, but I've made more progress. Kind of was thinking maybe I would be done with Clue 1 by now, but it's a little slow going because of the different activities that have to occur in terms of casting on, casting off, turn, talk about twists and turns. There's lots of turning to do cast on, and then having to bind that back off just a few rows later. It does cause for a slower pace, and so that's kind of interesting in and of itself. I am waiting to do the twists until I get done with the knitting, and then I'll go back and do the twisting part, which if you are following along, you know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the twisting part of the pattern, or of section 1. But so I can show my progress so far. So spoilers. So here it comes. Here's so look away if you don't want to know. Of course, this isn't giving away the big surprise of the first section, but all right, here we go. So here's where I am so far. I have about, what is it? About 10 rows, and we're supposed to have like 14 of those chevron sections. I just love how that my contrast color is knitting up. That it's a very tonal gray. Now technically so is the navy, but you can't see the tonality on that navy quite as well. You can in some areas where you can kind of see the black sections of it popping in. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this process, and it is definitely a process. 1 second, I have to go discipline my children. All right, sorry about that. So having 2 young German Shepherd mix dogs means that there are times, especially right now, they're really getting to know each other. There's because one Inga we've had for about 3 months, and Freya just came into our pack about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. So it is, they're in the process of really getting to know each other. They're at the point now where they're becoming very much pack mates, and they're playing constantly like a couple of little puppies. So yeah, occasionally you have to like calm them down because they're not really supposed to be roughhousing inside. And I don't know about you, but I can kind of hear them in the background going crazy. So you've seen my progress on twists and turns, and I know I'll have the clue finished before clue 2 drops. That I'm not concerned about that, but I was hoping to be able to do some cast on of some other things and be able to knit on some other things this week, especially being clue 1 usually goes pretty quickly. I still have my baby blanket that I am finishing up. I'm even mid-row on this. Man, I'm mid-row on my baby blanket. So this I need to finish up, which is very close. But, you know, priorities. Hi there, I'm Scott, and this is GreatScott Knitting Vlogtober Day 9. So yesterday I had hoped to publish the last couple of days, but my girls wanting to play, as you can see, kind of, man, is it going to happen again? Interrupted me, and it looks like it may be continuing as though like another complete day hadn't passed. Sorry, I'm back. Little pause there, because again, they're going crazy. They're young, they're vibrant, they're incorrigible. So, in the meantime, in the past day, I have been able to complete clue 1. So I am ahead of schedule, ahead of spending the entire week working on it, which is fabulous. I'm so thrilled. I really like everything about this start. So it's very like Stephen West says in his video. It's very graphic. It's very textured. Lots, the just really fun elements to this piece. So, so again, spoilers if you're, not really wanting to see it until you've done it. Look away, and then you can turn back. So here is my finished clue 1. Really, really liking this. This is so much fun. So that's clue 1 in my yarns. So very, very fun. Where will he go from here? I just don't know. I am perplexed. I am very interested to see how that, how this develops. I'm very curious. So again, we'll just sit back, we'll wait, we'll watch, we'll learn, and yeah. So clue 1 is done, which means I can go back to finishing my baby blanket, which is just really less than 10 rows away from being done. And then I'm really thinking of casting on Color Craving for my interim piece. And so for those of you who maybe aren't aware, this is Color Craving from, I don't remember when he published this, 2013. So it's a little ways back, and it is an interesting shawl in that it has this center open rib, which makes it really, really interesting. So I'm very interested in doing this and playing with Color Craving. And so it was the 2013 Mystery Knit Along, which you can see used to start much earlier in the season. So I'm thinking maybe that's going to be my Stephen West interim piece. This is a 3-color, and I believe it just requires 3 100-gram skeins of fingering weight yarn. So I have some colors. I wonder if I can find them in my stash. Well, quick is not the answer, but I did find them. So here is what I am thinking in terms of my colors for Color Craving. And let me just verify. Here's what I'm thinking. There we go. And these are from a local dyer here in Wichita, 316 Dye Studio. This is on her, I think it's on her house base. Anyway, these two are 100% superwash merino wool 4-ply, and this is a 100% superwash merino wool 3-ply. But you know what? I feel, they still work well. They're still going to work really nicely with each other. Colorways. So this is called Cranberry. So it's a really beautiful red tonal. The light color is called Cherry Blossom. So it's a speckled, red speckles in there, which of course that'll play really nicely. And then this one is called Fantastic Beasts. So it's gray, which of course is a Harry Potter reference. But there's some grays, there's greens, there's pinks. Just a very lovely, variegated skein. So I think those will be interesting with each other in color craving. That's what I think my if I have time. If not, then that'll probably be what I cast on immediately afterwards. Okay, so I'm kind of playing with an idea of a goal for 2023, which might be, and don't hold me to this because I'm not even holding me to this, but I'm playing with the idea of going back and knitting all of the Stephen West mystery knit-alongs and getting all of those back-dated mystery knit-alongs knit in the next year. So we'll see if I actually accomplish that. At least the ones that I haven't already done. I've done a few, like I've done Doodler, which was from, I don't remember what year that was from, and I've also done Exploration Station. So I have a couple done. And of course I've done Slipstravaganza, and I've done, of course, Shawlography last year. This year I'm doing Twists and Turns. So, well, I don't know. We'll just have to see what 2023 brings, but that's kind of an idea I'm playing with as sort of a little goal for me for my knitting. Okay, so yeah, I think that's about it in terms of knitting. So what I have been watching while I pushed through the first clue was I've been keeping up with I've been keeping up with watching the Rings of Power. So Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power on Amazon Prime. So it is a Tolkien story adaptation, which is okay. The visuals are great. The characters are interesting, but not necessarily canon. But you know what? I'm letting it happen. I'm just gonna go with what they're creating and enjoy it. It doesn't have to be perfect from a canon standpoint. So that's kind of been that's one thing. But of course, this was several more hours. So just so what I've really kind of filled it in with is there are a couple of YouTube bloggers whose focus is Tolkien lore and exploring the various stories and characters and locations from the Tolkien canon, the Tolkien books. So I've been watching those, and they're extremely informative and really, really well done. So a couple of the folks that I would, if you are interested in J.R.R. Tolkien and the backstory to The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, go to these channels, and I'll link them below. The one I started watching the most was Nerd of the Rings. And then another one that I've watched quite a bit of is In Deep Geek. And then, of course, Men of the West is another one that I have watched a few of those as well. And those have given me a lot of back information, which it's been a number of years since I've gone deep into Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit and those core pieces of Tolkien literature. A long time ago, I started reading the Silmarillion and didn't really get as deep into it in my younger days. And by that, I mean probably about 18 or 19 years old. When I was a kid, when I was in high school, I used to read the Lord of the Rings trilogy of books every summer for like 4 or 5 summers between junior high and high school. Every summer I would read it all the way through. So it's been a number of years since I've read Lord of the Rings. So I'm actually considering going back and getting, finding my copy of the Lord of the Ring and reading it through old-fashioned wise, not on Kindle and not through audiobook, but actually sitting and reading the Lord of the Rings. I'm not sure that I'm going to, but I'm considering that as an option for me, either over the winter or in the new year. So that's what entertained me as I did those wonderful chevrons and the casting on and the casting off and trying to keep track of all that. I only had one issue with one dropped stitch that I was able to recapture so that it's not going to be an issue. And it is not in a place where it will make any difference. So it's like, again, say yes, don't stress. There's nothing that cannot be fixed. So, again, that's why I think I love the Stephen West Mystery Knit-alongs, is because he is so positive and so engaging and such a very good teacher that you just really do trust yourself to the process that he lays out. And that's why I think I really enjoy it. And the idea of having that mystery knit along is just so much fun. So anyway, some cool things will be happening later in the month. I'm really excited about. I'll share with you more about that later at some point, but not now. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off and maybe start putting this together and getting it uploaded. And so hopefully it'll be out at some point Monday. So with that, may you have peace in your home and the fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Good night.